Hello, I'm Emma Green and welcome to the Virtual Engineering Centre podcast, Engineering in Digital. The Metaverse. There is so much to talk about with this innovative technology, but with this seems to be a lot of speculative gossip, misused jargon and misplaced understanding. From Facebook taking over to famous artists using this to generate a new revenue through virtual concerts and NFTs, there are hundreds of news stories and updates, but very little understanding of what it really is and the opportunities it can present. By dictionary definition, the Metaverse is a virtual reality space in which users can interact with a computer-generated environment and other users. So how is this different from anything else we have seen or heard of before, and is it really worth the hype? Will it really become a central part to our working in everyday lives? We explore more in this episode of Engineering in Digital. Today I'm joined by Dr Konstantin Vikhorev, Head of Industrial Digitalisation at the VEC. Konstantin leads the team of digital engineers and is a specialist developer in autonomous systems, control systems design, and is a key part of our digital framework team. So welcome, Konstantin, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you for inviting me again.
So let's start from the very beginning. In your expert opinion, and so we can all gain an understanding, in its absolute simplest form, what exactly is a metaverse?
Well, metaverse is absolutely new concept. It is a virtual space that uses technologies such as AI, blockchain, IoT, and some of the advanced visualization techniques such as AR and VR to transform life and urban infrastructure in a city or in a country, so on. And if you would like the analogy, if you imagine the world which is exactly like ours but digital, so metaverse will provide an access to large number data sets. There's also some of the results of the analysis of this data, and would provide you insights and allow you to kind of make your own decision, or sort of changing the infrastructure across you around you. It's like sort of a world we've never been before. You can immerse yourself and into the new digital environment. You can bring different data sets. You can bring models, meaning that there is mathematical modeling or some sort of a physical representation, consumers and suppliers, into the ultra realistic and unique view of an environment. We can have a visual representation, either real time or the simulation. So the grand vision for probably any metaverse is to develop a digital platform and a business model that would unify the metaverse that supports large number of users, enterprises, industrial sectors, interacting and transacting digital goods and services with each other through the hyper-realistic spaces. But in a nutshell, what the metaverse would be.
Right, so what would be the benefits of being able to immerse yourself in this world? So say if you're doing business and things like that, why not visit those people? Is it geographical? So
yeah, basically what it is, the metaverse goes across the borders. So that's the most important. So there isn't any control or sort of walls that you can kind of abstract you to exchange the visitors, exchange the digital kind of assets and the goods.
Yeah.
So that creates a new market and opportunity across continents, across the countries, and so on, that will allow to grow the business in the area.
Brilliant. And yet the grand vision is to develop digital platform for businesses. So there will be a unified metaverse, as it were, that people will be invited to kind of join.
Yeah, or a set of metaverses that can interconnect and work with each other. So that's from the economy point of view, but there's also inclusivity of the public. So it will be easy accessibility for certain data, and easy understanding of especially the geographically spread data across this in 3D. So there's a lot of application for education, again, the heritage sites, and obviously for the development, for future development.
So we've heard a lot of the same kind of jargon before, like you said, immersive world, digital world. So how would you explain or even differentiate this from, say, smart cities and digital twins?
So digital twin cities and smart cities been for a while probably, and
Yeah.
and yet the explosion of interest again happened right now due to kind of a growth of the VR AR technologies, interest in blockchains, and also the hardware development of kind of a fast graphical processors that NVIDIA brought to market. So they all leveraging the smart cities and digital twins, and they all leveraging technologies. However, it is difficult to differentiate, but the Metaverse has developed born from both of these technologies and kind of trying to leverage concept from both.
Okay.
So creating digital version of something, but also bringing data and trying to improve the decision based on that data, and also the creating the economy around it, and trying to be a separate sector, almost a sector across
Yeah.
the
So we've got like smart cities
yeah
that
yeah
use sensors for capturing
yeah
data, traffic,
yeah
footfall,
yeah
carbon emissions, and then digital twins. I know from experiences at VEC, typically we've used them in certain industries for creating virtual
yeah
environments for testing, for safety, de-risking. And yeah, so you're saying that basically a metaverse brings all of this together. So the data from sensors and other information,
yeah
and then we can use it for testing, but also all of
users
the,
yeah
yes,
users and sectors, industrial sectors, and also the businesses can join.
brilliant. Um, so when we talk about data being available to the public, will there be, for example, like new data that would come out of a metaverse that we perhaps wouldn't get from a digital twin or a smart city?
Yes, so it will be first of all the data that is already available, but hard to understand. For example, the easy example would be air quality. What's the air quality? You can look at the spreadsheet and you wouldn't understand what it means. Whilst if you look at it in a 3D space, you can see how that affects certain areas of the city, or you know local schools and so on and so on. So that allows you, again, the people prefer to interact with the information using visual and kind of sound stimulus.
Oh,
So
okay,
that so
yeah.
that empowers that. Also allows them to make a decision. So the simulation, the model behind it, will provide them with some of the insights from this data. So you don't have to have a degree to understand all of this data flows. The models and AI specifically would allow you to interpret and explain what's the result. There's also explaining of the certain decisions that the local governments or the public's making, removing the bridges or flyways, how's that going to affect the local areas and local economy, and is there going to be traffic jams and so on. So they will allow them to make more informed decisions and more kind of empower democracy in a process of making decisions.
Oh, so okay, so there's yeah, local government or decision makers, like you say, will
Yeah,
make better informed decisions, but then it could also be used as a bit of a communication
yeah,
tool
yeah,
to showcase the backing of or reasoning
mm,
behind a
yeah.
said decision. Um, so the VEC are very excited to have developed a city-wide metaverse for Liverpool. So what were the steps taken in this innovative initiative?
Um, well, first of all, it should be mentioned that there's not only VEC is doing the metaverses. Big cities like Dubai, Shanghai, Seoul, Singapore, some of the New York and London, they're doing already. They're heavily populated city, and they invest in a lot in the creating of metaverse of the city. They have different aspects. They're looking at the different things in there, but it's still the direction of creating all this metaverses that will empower to create a new sector for them is obvious. VAC is commissioned the flight. over the Liverpool, basically airplane for 3 days, and captured 210 square kilometers with plus minus 3 centimeter accuracy using the LiDAR and photogrammetry scanning technologies. So was hundreds and thousands of photographs being taken, collected together, and then recreated into the 3D, very precise and accurate 3D space 3D representation of Liverpool City. And it's truly realistic. You can walk around, you can see it from the top, and you can understand every little details. And we're already kind of on the way of adding some of the data. So we included the weather, we included the energy certificates for each buildings. We also used it as part of the major event in Liverpool, Eurovision, to kind of interact with the virtually with the people that cannot attend in person. So and so on. So there is a big potential for that project.
So how long does it take someone to sit and go put all the scans together, the photos together, and then, like you say, with the energy certificates of mapping and planning each building? I mean, there's thousands of buildings.
Based on our previous experience and our work in different sectors, we can do it relatively quickly. So it takes us instead of kind of years, it takes us a month or several weeks. So it's not it's for I mean, building on the experience, it takes a lot less time, and hence we're progressing rapidly in terms of integrating it all together.
Brilliant. And then how would you explain the difference between, say, walking around this virtual metaverse and walking around, say, Google Maps?
It's in a way it has a similarity because it has a graphical side of the things. However, the Google Maps had the specific application, so it's mostly geo kind of location data, whilst and it has lots of limitations as well on how you can use the data from Google Maps, how can you use the data from Google Earth. Google, in fact, recently released several cities 3D representation of the cities used photogrammetry techniques, but from satellite scanning they've done over the years. I mean, they very good representation, but there's lots of limitations on how you can use and how you can apply your data and what kind of insight. Whilst the metaverse and the metaverse we developed aimed at changing a kind of urban environment, changing people's perception on the data that available across Liverpool City region, and also looking at the creating economy and the sector of the digital change, using obviously all of this technologies such as VR, AR, social networking, gaming, and so on. Avatars, again, the integration of avatars and will allow in certain applications like heritage or services from the local governments, explaining it in more simple and more understandable way using that, and virtual economy transaction, whereas exchange digital assets and virtual products and the services in that would be possible, and real-time interactions within that.
So you mentioned like the Eurovision, for example. So what other type of immersive experience and environments do you think will be popular with the Metaverse City for Liverpool?
Planning, I think planning is one of the areas that the Liverpool City Council particularly is quite keen on, understanding how they can plan the city better, where they can invest, what should they do with the across the city, how they plan the traffic, how they plan the new residential areas, what's the access to the things like healthy food and supermarkets and general public transport, and so on. Um, from an investment point of view, finding the right places to invest as well.
Yeah.
And infrastructure, changing infrastructure again, that it's not only the on the ground infrastructure, there's an underground infrastructure as well. So understanding and visualizing that's very important there. And heritage as a Liverpool was a second after London in terms of heritage aspects and heritage sites, and bringing them together in one place again. Inclusivity from other side, it raises awareness and also allows us to preserve um, um, historic sites.
Yes, we've got obviously with regards to, as you said, planning, traffic and public transport, you've obviously got then the emergency services. I suppose they could use it for the same kind of thing. Education, utilities. It kind of go through the list of entertainment, heritage, like you say. The possibilities are kind of endless.
With the government services, there is also healthcare, understanding the health trends across the city, how the certain aspects are affecting the health of the general population, and how the health can be more accessible for general public healthcare.
And what do you believe the misconceptions of the metaverse are or could be at this point and in the future?
I think the main misconception is, first of all, it is a game or it's a toy. It's not going to go anywhere, or it will take our jobs because it's virtual and you won't need the people. In it's not true. It will create more jobs. It will create more skilled people. It will raise the kind of economy in a particular region. So it's not cancelling. It's along the side of the kind of existing supporting role.
Yeah. So also you've mentioned where other governments across the world, like New York, Singapore, have already started to develop these metaverses of their own cities. So what kind of technologies are they investing in, or what kind of things and ways are they using these metaverses already?
Um, they using it mostly. There's a lot of planning, specifically. There's a lot of planning, especially in the Asian side of the things, of building things in a small area. That's a lot of that. There is also NFT economy and transaction using all of this tokens. That's heavily invested in the development of the kind of IT infrastructure around that.
What are the NFTs? What the NFTs of?
The NFTs are kind of gain popularity, especially in the arts market, where you can have a digital copy or the only digital copy of the particular painting, which you can own, and you can prove your rights and so on. It allows to create parallel to the real kind of arts and market, where you can have a digital copies of the things, of the artifacts that you won't be able to do before. And some of those artifacts are sold on very extortionate prices. I think tens of thousands of pounds and hundreds of thousands of pounds for paintings and the digital virtual painting of the thing. So so it is an economy sector which is kind of developing now.
And then our last point is on accessibility. So where does this metaverse live, and how would, say, businesses who are maybe interested in exploring metaverse or want to know a little bit more about how they could either access their data or even enter and use their data in the metaverse? So if they're interested in coming to the VEC and visiting and exploring this immersive technology, how would businesses go about it?
Well, the majority of the metaverses and the boom of the metaverses is actually created by development of the hardware and the kind of digital technologies. So the metaverses is deployed and used in the cloud, using the cloud infrastructure, which is supplied. There is a local cloud. Obviously, there's a local cloud infrastructure, and there is a very kind of a known providers such as Microsoft and Amazon providing the cloud spaces, which is used across the world. It provides certain flexibility, it provides accessibility, and it also provides you a way of generating profit from using that. In terms of visiting our we would be happy to kind of talk to people. We can happy to show people what our work is and how that's kind of can help their business to grow in that direction. And we have a place in central Liverpool on our University of Liverpool main campus called Digital Innovation Facility, and we're also going to happy to see you in our Dasbury laboratory site at the Virtual Engineering Center. So with our team is going to be showcasing the best of what we can do and some of the applications, and discuss potential collaborations as well.
And I suppose each business's use within the metaverse is completely dependent on what they want to achieve, what they're looking to. So it's not one fits all, it's bespoke to each business.
It's a bespoke to each, and depending on if you would like to provide the data, there's a way of, sort of generating revenue from this. If you'd like to provide the models, that can be done as well. There's a digital, obviously you can provide a digital artifact, digital assets and that for us, and so that we will explore all of this and explain how the best to generate to fit the business needs.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Konstantin.
Thank you for having me.
So there you have it, a full breakdown of what the metaverse is, how it can support businesses and how it differentiates from anything we've seen beforehand. Unfortunately, that's all we have time for today, but a huge thanks again to Konstantin for joining me, and again to all of our listeners. For anyone who is interested in finding out more about the metaverse technologies or even Meta Liverpool, please visit www.virtualengineeringcentre.com or drop us a line at vec@live.ac.uk. Many thanks again, and remember to join us next time on the VEC Engineering in Digital podcast.